So there's this question that if you've been following me for some time, you know I have a little bit of challenges to answer it in a balanced way. I have a very strong opinion about it, and I try to understand, but then it's like, do I? Or am I just trying to be nice? Can you have a successful relationship after a betrayal? You're together with someone, they betray you, and then somehow you find your way back, you work on things, and how they like to say it, you are stronger than ever. And I accepted that I'm probably too weak to deal with this shit and I would just, walk away. So imagine my surprise when I saw that there is a new reality TV show on Netflix about answering that very question.
Did you guys have sex?
You cheating has ruined me.
You made me feel like I wasn't good enough.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have treated you like that.
I'm so done.
Did I roll my eyes at the beginning at, what in the buffoonery is this now? And did I get hooked after one episode? Yes, I did. But don't you want to know how it works? Don't you want to understand how do these couples actually come back together? What it takes to come back together? Can you come back together? Aren't you interested if it is possible that someone actually changes, or it's all just an act and, pretending until the next temptation passes by? Exactly. And if not, well, don't you have a joyful life? So the new Netflix series, Cheat, Unfinished Business, follows 8 couples that signed up for this show, aka they call it Retreat, because sure. And they kind of go through the journey of trying to reconcile, to see if they can continue again, because they do have a sense that there could be, a second chance in all of this. Now, they're also going to have a relationship expert who is going to try to guide them on this journey. And at the end, they're going to decide if they want to continue or not. If I need to give like one prop to this show, I mean, there are many, but when it comes to the setup and so on, they brought variety. Out of 8 couples, each situation is something you heard about, something someone found themselves in, like a situationship. Though there is this little detail when it comes to these couples, and it's kind of interesting. And it is that out of all 8 couples, there is not one couple where she cheated and he needs to kind of accept it or pass the betrayal in some way. No, it's all them, and women are the one who need to kind of, let's work on this now and blah, blah, blah. Which, does this mean that women in general are more forgiving? Maybe. Or maybe, I don't have anything else. This will probably be like a 2 or 3 part series. And in this first video, I'm going to share who the couples are, how they met, how their relationship was, how it went down, and basically where they stand now at this very moment. And by this very moment, I mean, how are they confronting each other? What is the expectation? What are the views? And what is the opinion of our relationship expert, Paul? I have no idea what his surname is. A little disclaimer, this is reality TV, okay? I'm commenting based on what I see. I do not know the people. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just a girl with a lot of opinions, and, I try to make conversations here and maybe draw some insights that would help us. But in no way, shape, or form is what I'm saying the total truth, okay? You need to form your own opinions. And in some cases, we might agree. You know how we do it. We narrate, we analyze. We often judge. And yes, we do believe that we know better and would do better. Hopefully. The first couple is Lucia and Connor. Now, they are your first lovebirds.
Me and Lucia were each other's first loves.
From the get-go, and we did believe that we were soulmates.
They actually met by him sliding into her DMs, and they felt like they were soulmates from the get-go. They even talked about engagement, having a family, and all in all, they were together for 4 years.
We were looking towards the future. We spoke about an engagement, but obviously didn't go to plan.
You see, Connor has a little bit of a wandering eye, according to him. And his eye and his package slipped somewhere it shouldn't.
When Lucia did turn up, the girl was still in my bed.
It's the typical. He went out with the boys, he got drunk, and he brought a girl home. Now, in the morning, Lucia almost caught them. But somehow he managed to tell the girl to hide in the attic, and Lucia didn't see it. But then later on, she found a watch of the girl under the bed, exposed. So they separated. Clearly, these two lovebirds, or first-time lovebirds, want to give this relationship a second chance. But before doing that, Lucia wants to know why. Why did he cheat on her? Everything was perfect. They were happy. I mean, they were even talking about having a family. And Connor has hopes for them reconciling because, according to him, he is now much more mature and ready for a true commitment. He just hopes she will see that. The second couple is your long-term couple. They've been together for 10 years, and it is Olivia and Liam. Now, they met when Olivia was 18 years old, and it's not a red flag at all. You are too young to understand shit. And if you're paired with someone who knows how to, They actually don't give us any indication of how old Liam is, at least not in the first, was it 3 episodes at this point? And yes, of course, I could go on internet and try to find out, but I don't want to, because then I also find out the spoilers and it kind of, it impacts how I see the couple. So you can let us know in the comments below if you know it. But basically, they met outside a club, and Liam was charming and a gentleman from the get-go.
He was very charming. He kissed me on the cheek, introduced himself properly.
I basically asked her out for a date, and then we kind of went from there.
She knew immediately that he is the one. And for Liam, Olivia was nothing he ever seen before. Okay, that sounds weird. She was different than any other woman he ever met, I guess. She was someone who always put other people first, and she has a big heart, so she was very special to him. For Olivia, Liam was ride or die, and he treated her like a princess. Apart from that little incident at the beginning where apparently he kissed another girl while they were quite early on in the relationship. I don't know. Princess cheating, but then also hooking up with other people. Maybe I'm too detailed, right? Liam's whole thing is that this is ridiculous, okay? This happened 10 years ago, and Olivia never really got over it. She never really let it go, and he's fairly positive that that's the reason why the relationship ended. At this point, they haven't seen each other for 4 months, and now they are face to face in a reckoning room. And there is this emotional moment where Olivia shares that she thought the two of them are going to be together forever, but the trust was broken, and it's very hard to rebuild that. And also, she feels like there is something more that Liam is not really telling her.
I do feel like there's more that you haven't told me, and I want the answers that I deserve.
Liam, on the other hand, is like, Bis, I don't know what you're talking about. I've told you, yes, at the beginning of the relationship, I did kiss another girl. That was 10 years ago. And if you really want us to work on this, you need to let it go. And I don't know, what are you talking about there being another thing? There was no one ever else.
Maybe she thinks there's more, but there's no one else out there for me.
Now, unfortunate for Liam, there is a little secret Olivia has.
During our relationship, I've heard that Liam cheated on me again, but he doesn't know that I know that.
And she's gonna share it when the time is right. The whole vibe, how Olivia is approaching this, which we see when she's talking with Lucia in their common spaces, is that she wants to understand the cheater's mind. She wants to go in that brain and kind of understand, why do you cheat? And You know what? I myself am a researcher. I like to understand things. I like to analyze. I like to go deep. But some things like I need to understand why a cheater cheats. It's like, do you really now? Do you really need to understand? Or better, do you really not understand why someone would cheat? And I know it is a little bit tricky because there are examples where maybe someone is in an abusive relationship and maybe pairing with someone else gives them that strength to walk away, right? But even then, there's only one truth. Clearly, they don't love you as much as you think they do. The third couple is Andre and Steph. Now, Andre and Steph met outside the club, and he was so attentive to her.
He would send me flowers, send me teddy bears.
She really felt like he can satisfy all of her needs. Wink, wink. Yes, we are cool like that.
You know, I saw kids in our future and just starting a whole life with her.
They even moved in together, but 4 months into sharing living spaces together and the bedroom, there was a notification on the phone. And you know how it is. By mistake, she fell, bumped on the phone, it flipped in her face, and she saw it is a lady, and the message was, "I miss you." Now, if you think that Steph was someone who sat down and confronted him, you are wrong, because Steph does not play.
The next day, I cut off all ties with him.
She packed her things, and in less than 24 hours, she was gone. She did not even want to hear whatever Andre had to say. Now, one might think, you know what? Good for her. Sometimes just take what you see and walk away. But we talked about it before, when you do things in anger, there is a very high probability that suddenly you're going to start feeling guilty, start feeling that, oh my God, did you react a little bit too much? But basically, that's exactly what Steph was going through.
I've never known the truth, and sometimes I wonder if I actually did make a mistake, not hearing what he had to say.
At this point, she is thinking that maybe she effed up. She feels guilty because she never gave Andre a chance to actually explain himself. What if he didn't cheat? What if this was just some kind of friend or something? What if it was just messages? And she is back at this retreat because she wants to figure it out. She wants to ask him and see if they can come back together. Andre, on the other hand...
So what happened? Did you cheat? Or...
Yeah, man. Steph doesn't know that I physically cheated.
He did actually cheat, Yeah, those messages she found, they weren't only indicating that he might be cheating, he was cheating. So he needs to come clean if they want to move forward. At this point, they haven't seen each other for about 2 years. And when they face each other again in this reckoning room, the first thing Andre does is give her compliments. And she returns it. The boy knows he needs to break down the horrible news. Now, before continuing, can you imagine you break up with a guy because you find some messages, you walk away, you don't give him a chance to, explain his side and so on, because you probably think like, what, there is no side. I saw just the fact that you're texting, that she's sending you, she misses you and blah, blah, blah. That's, that's, how do you say, proof enough for me. And then you go through 2 years of thinking that what if you made a mistake? What if you reacted too fast? Like maybe it wasn't really anything. You come to this show just to find out that, no, he did actually cheat. You were right for walking away. But we'll see how she'll handle it. The next couple is Amberly and Kieran. Now, this is the only couple where there is this, they both did something to each other. Amberly was attracted to Kieran's confidence from the get-go. I mean, he is someone who is tall, dark, and handsome, and he has big personality. He has a presence. He has charm, and he does have those perfect turkey teeth.
He's just such a big character with such a big personality. Tall, dark and handsome with a tan, the turkey teeth. Everything was just on point.
Oh, if he spent money, it should be appreciated. Now, according to him, they were best friends from the get-go.
We was just like best friends from the beginning. We just gelled together.
It was sparks. And after 2 weeks of talking, he would invite her to his place and they just spent talking hours and hours. Now, they were together for around 3.5 years, but it was constantly, on and off. We're together, we're not together. We are loving each other, we are hating each other. It was a mess. But what really pushed the envelope, is that the saying? Is that night in Portugal. Or that's how it started. You see, they went to Portugal, they got in a fight, and Kieran just went out. And he didn't come back the whole night, not even the next morning, but he brought his ass back at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, he claims that nothing ever happened, right? He went out, he met a bunch of random people, and then he just booked a hotel room, and that was it. Now, Amberly is sus. She is not trusting him. But as much as Amberly is like saying that this is, a problem, he is like, Bis, you went to your ex and texted me that you're gonna F him.
The trust was broken the night you went to your ex's house and texted me saying you was going to him.
We had 3 girls around the house that I lived in with you. Saw it all on the Ring doorbell camera the next morning.
Oh yeah, they started juicy. They both agree that there is a lot to their story, and that's why they're here, to trying to see if they can continue. The next couple is Rebecca and Biggs. Now, Rebecca and Biggs were also, sparking from the get-go.
We just bounce off each other so well.
She was like my best friend.
That's something you will notice. It's a pattern in these couples. Their initial meetup was so magical and they were soulmates and the best friends and they just smashed and this and that and then, betrayal. Just like that. But okay. I'm being a little bit sassy. Rebecca and Biggs had an instant connection. They were joking all the time and they would be just, bouncing off jokes from one another. It really felt like perfect match. Now, the problem was that Rebecca was feeling a little bit unhappy with herself. She was in a challenging time in her life and she had to call it quits. According to her, she did it for herself, but also for Biggs because she did not want to hurt him until she figures things for herself. For Biggs, Rebecca was also someone who he considered best friend and probably one of the only relationships he ever took seriously. They even planned to move in together, but that never happened because Rebecca broke it off. They've been together for around 2 years, and according to Rebecca, he's the best thing that ever happened to her. But there were also some allegations of him cheating.
I was so in love with him to the point that I just kind of believed what he said.
Now, Biggs also wants Rebecca back. He also wants their relationship to continue. But he also needs to break to Rebecca the fact that he did really cheat. Yeah, the rumors were true.
Rebecca doesn't know I cheated on her.
And he knows it. If they want to get back together, he needs to come clean. And that's exactly what Mr. Biggs does. They meet up in this, what did I say? What kind of room? Recognition room. He looks her in the eye and he's like,
You're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Before we move forward, I need to tell you something. I cheated towards the end of the relationship.
He comes clean about cheating on her by the end of the relationship. And Rebecca is shook. She is visibly upset. She feels like she does not know the man who is sitting across her. What does he mean he actually cheated on her? She literally believed him. When he said that the rumors are not true, she believed him. So what the F is this?
I never had you down as a liar. But that's what you are right now.
Now, am I going to say that it's interesting she applied to a show called Cheat Unfinished Business and was shocked by the fact that he cheated? If she didn't cheat, yes, I'm going to say it. It's interesting, huh? She can barely look at him, and this makes Biggs a little bit scared because now when she knows the truth, I mean, will they actually be able to reconcile? The next couple is Tegan and Sean. Now, Tegan and Sean met on Tinder. And at the beginning, Tegan was not really into him, okay? She was like, no, I don't even want to go on a date with this guy. But then her friend convinced her and she gave him a chance.
Just give him a go. What's the worst that can happen?
They went to take a dog on a walk or something like that. And he charmed her. Somehow, he just knew how to make those butterflies go, and she was hooked.
Sean was like head to toe in designer clothes.
And like I said, he wasn't really her type, but she figured my dog likes him, so why not? What's the worst that can happen? Things moved fast. They were clear about being all in from the get-go.
I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. I loved her more than I've ever loved anybody else.
Call me crazy, but a few weeks in, I let him move in.
Look, sometimes things progress faster, okay? Who are we to judge? But the fairy tale started to crumble. You see, there was a girl who went on every freaking social media platform trying to reach Tegan and tell her that Sean actually cheated.
She said that in his lounge was a picture of me and Sean, and she asked him, and apparently he'd said, oh, it's me and my ex-girlfriend, we split up, I just haven't had time to take everything down.
Spoiler alert, it wasn't. They were together. But he came up with the story that, they broke up, but he just didn't have yet the time to get rid of everything. So when this lady found out that that was a lie, she contacted Tegan and she was like, Bis, you need to know this. But despite everything, she still has feelings for him and she cannot just let him go. So that's why she is here, hoping that they will fix things, that she will understand better the why. Now, if you feel that so far things have been a little bit cray-cray, well, let me tell you about Jazz and Craig. Now, of course, it starts how it usually starts. Craig says that it was almost like a fairy tale how they met. She was at the gas station, he stopped, her tire was flat, and he helped her. He took her number, and from that moment, they spent every day together.
Me and Jazz's relationship was amazing. She just got my banter.
It was 9 months.
Jazz says how their favorite nights would just be doing shopping in Costco, just with their strollers walking around. And it might not sound really romantic, but it was special for them. They just wanted to be together all the time.
Our giant trolleys just strolling around, trying to spend as much time as we could together.
The thing was that, after the 9 months of this perfect fairy tale relationship, Craig had to come clean to Jazz and let her know that he is actually in a relationship with the mother of his daughter. Surprise!
That was the beginning of the end.
Now, Jazz clearly gave him an ultimatum. You need to leave this person or I'm gone. And Craig, despite saying that he will leave his baby mother, do you say it like that? Baby mama, he took a little bit too long. So Jazz was out. But now Craig has changed. Craig has fixed things in his life and he really wants to get back with Jazz because she is just the right person for him and he knows that they can do this. And the last couple is, I forgot, Dan and Rebecca. Now, Dan and Rebecca met on vacation in Greece and they hit it off from the get-go. I mean, according to Rebecca, they were twin flames because they just mashed. Everything was just perfect and they spent the whole 3 weeks together.
We were literally non-stop all over each other the whole time. She used to call us like twin flames.
I mean, even after coming back, it was on. She was willing to, move from the city. So she lived in Newcastle, I think, and then she moved to Wales. And just, leave her friends behind, leave her family behind because she believed in this relationship so much.
I was bang in love with Dan, bang in love with him. There was no question, I was obsessed with him.
When you tell me that you thought you were twin flames, I mean, not far-fetched. She does say that Dan knows how to talk, and that's something that kind of gets her. And according to Dan, Rebecca is a firecracker, but she's also very loving and very caring. And that's what got him. Now, things went down between Rebecca and Dan one night honestly, it was a little bit confusing what exactly happened. But from what I understood is that Dan went on a trip to Ibiza, maybe with his boys. And when he came back, Rebecca actually went through his phone and found that he was texting some girls that he met in Ibiza. And it was also like, oh, when we're back in UK, we're gonna meet up or link up or whatever.
Rebecca woke up in the middle of the night going through my phone, crying next to me in the bed.
And that was the end of the relationship. But again, as all the 7 couples before them, also the 2 of them think that there could be an opportunity for a second chance because what they share is just, I guess, so magical and so pure and so special that they had to betray each other early on. Not each other. Like I said, in this case, mainly the guys are doing the betrayal. So, yeah. Wait, didn't I say I won't be judging? Lasted. So this was basically the first day, right? They just meet, they exchange a little bit, like how they met and blah, blah, blah. And they separate into the 2 houses and exes are split, right? And there is this premise, that there might be some mingling happening between different exes, right? I mean, what's a show if they don't put that in, right? That's what brings the drama. That's what makes us hooked instead of reading a book. Now, this is also the time to kind of gather their thoughts because the next day, what these couples need to do is face off. Oh yeah, they need to confront one another and they need to talk about the betrayal that happened, what ended the relationship, get some clarity, and based on that, they will decide if they actually want to continue with this process and see if they can reconcile, okay? Now, the meetup is something like this. Okay, the couple meet, right? They talk, and the whole time, the expert and the host are observing through the camera on the laptop, like we do, and they are giving their insights or opinions, like just little bits here and there. But at this point, the expert is not involved in the confrontation. He's just like observing from afar. Now, there is a point where the hostess actually asks Paul, the expert, if it is actually possible to come back together after such a betrayal.
And all of the research says without question, yes, you can come back. But it doesn't happen for everyone.
No.
According to Paul, I mean, all the research shows it, which, what is that research? That to me is a very research on, what is the research of relationship? How many couples did you ask? What was the backstory of what happened? What is the betrayal? How they overcame? There's so much hidden behind the word research, but somehow it just makes it, really relevant. But nevertheless, according to research, it is not impossible. It is very hard, but it can happen. But it's not for everyone.
But when it does happen, chances are you actually become stronger.
It is also proven through research that in a lot of cases, the couples that come back together after the betrayal, they are, my favorite sentence, stronger than ever.
And that's my hope for these couples here, for those who remain together, that they will be stronger than they have ever been.
Now, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. I already know some keyboard warriors. No, you're not keyboard warriors. You're just people who have their opinion, and correctly so. Look, I'm very open to opinions, to even constructive criticism. What I'm not open to is you insulting me or bashing me or things like that, because that's just that's unnecessary and that's effed up. If you need to insult me in order to make your point, how much do you actually trust your point? But that's another topic. But basically, he says that, they come back stronger as ever. Now, again, disclaimer, I am not a representation of someone who went through betrayal and gotten back with the person to say that I know what I'm talking about, to say that I have the experience and this is how it went for me and so on. Isn't it logical? Like, isn't that sentence just logic, and it doesn't mean anything more and profound? If after betrayal, two people come together, they manage to overcome things, they are more stronger than ever. I mean, yeah, expected? Like, that's the point of it, right? Because sometimes, and then again, maybe this is just my perception, I almost feel like when people come back together after the betrayal and they go through that, they almost have this sense of better than others. Like, we even went through this and we are stronger than ever. And it's not even stronger than ever, like probably thinking stronger than everyone around me, right? Because they went through such a betrayal. It's almost like you're getting extra points because you went through accepting betrayal. And it's like, really? Do you really get extra points? Or that's just something you decided to go through and you went through it? Congrats. If you experience betrayal and come back together and you're not stronger than you were at the beginning, then I don't know what changed. So that to me just sounds a very logical statement that should be true if you come back together after betrayal. It's not like research shows that you are even stronger. Yes, hopefully. The first couple to meet is Biggs and Rebecca. And let me remind you, this is the couple where she left because she didn't feel good about herself. They were the perfect match, but she wasn't just, she had some things to work on. And though he was accused of cheating, he said he never did it, and she believed that. So the relationship didn't end because of cheating. It ended because of her own challenges that she had with herself. And Biggs just broke it down that he actually did cheat. Now, when they meet, Rebecca is pissed, okay? Rebecca is not happy. And Biggs noticed it immediately.
You're so pissed off, man. You need to chill.
And if a man would say that to me, after he just told me that he cheated on me, I don't know, I would just turn around and walk away. But Rebecca is better than me. She wants to know why. Why did he do it? I mean, she thought they were happy in a relationship.
I thought we were happy. You've went away and done whatever you've done with someone else.
Side note, that also makes me feel a little bit strange. How can you think that you're happy in a relationship when you broke up the relationship because you weren't feeling happy in yourself? I mean, if you're not feeling happy in yourself, how can you be happy in a relationship? I don't know. But basically, she's kind of confused. Like, why did he do it? Or she actually wants to know what exactly happened. And this is where he says that he slept with someone when it was like by the end of their relationship. Now, Rebecca is very hurt because she thought they were what someone would say, the perfect couple, the perfect relationship. Like, what was he missing, or what was happening that he actually went and slept with another person? Like, what was he trying to get out of it?
Was it something I've done? Or was it you? Like, what were you wanting to get out of it?
And Biggs is as confused as she is because he doesn't know.
There wasn't like a reason for it. It just happened.
He knows that makes it even more fucked up, but he just did it and it happened and he is very sorry about it. Now, Rebecca is looking at Biggs and she has some realizations because she says that she feels Biggs presented himself as being this nice guy and it was all an act. Biggs denies it, okay? It was not all an act. But when she asked him if he would come clean if they didn't really break up, he's like,
Like, would I have ever found out, or would you have just continued like nothing was wrong? You don't even know.
I wouldn't.
Speechless.
To be honest, Rebecca, I think I wouldn't tell you. Yeah, I would take this to grave.
Okay, truthfully, I wouldn't have told you.
Now, when he is answering this question, he is almost, joking a little bit about it. Like, he's not really taking it seriously. And Rebecca calls him out on it. Like, this is not a joke. This is nothing funny. And that's when he comes clean and says that, no, he probably wouldn't tell her. At this point, Rebecca is like, okay, I honestly want to end the conversation right here because this is like, it's not really going anywhere. And I want you to think about what you just said. She gets up, he asks her if he can give her a hug, but she's just like, mm-mm, and she walks away. Now, later we see her in the confessionals where she is crying, and she shares that she's trying to put this brave face on, but she is really hurt. Like, this came out of nowhere. She is so shocked, and honestly, she feels like an idiot. Like, how could she not see it? Like, why did she believe him even when there were rumors about him cheating? Now, the expert and the host are actually observing this situation, how everything went down. And when Biggs was being a little bit, trying to be funny about the whole situation, this is where the expert says that it is clear that there is a difference in maturity, emotional maturity, between Biggs and Rebecca.
Biggs is not as emotionally mature as Rebecca, and should make us question, should they even be in a relationship?
Which is kind of interesting. If you are not emotionally mature at the same level, like, could you actually continue a relationship, especially after betrayal? The next couple is Andre and Steph. Now, this is the couple where, Steph found the messages that were a little bit sus, but she didn't really give Andre a chance to explain, and she just walked away. And then she kind of felt guilty. Like, what if that was a mistake and she should have let him explain his side?
It's 2 years that we've been broken up, and I know now I should have at least allowed him to explain himself rather than just cutting it all off with him.
And this is the moment where Andre is gonna explain his side. Now, when they meet, he kind of, there's a couch, and he kind of asks if they can sit a little bit closer. But Steph is like, nope, I'm keeping my distance until I get the facts. He tells her that he missed her, and she also mentions how they were best friends and they were really good with one another. But then she mentions that night where she found the messages, and she wants to know, what up with those?
Can you explain to me
Now, Andre chuckles a little bit. Maybe it's the nerves. And he admits that, yes, the messages were not the best.
Why was she saying I miss you? Did you guys have sex?
There was, sexual relations, yes.
You had sex with her?
I did have sex with her.
Now, Steph is not just like, okay, I'm gonna get out of here because I was right at the end of the day. Even though I didn't give him a chance to talk, I shouldn't, and that's it. But you'd be surprised because Steph wants to know more. How many times? Like, how many times did it happen? Because apparently that means something. I guess Steph was outside. She not only felt bad because she didn't really give him a chance to explain himself, but maybe she came to the realization that, you know what? Sometimes you just need to let it go. These men be stupid, okay? Sometimes they do things that are not right. So even if he, maybe he did cheat on her, there is a number. There's a limit that she will not pass.
A few times.
I need
3
numbers.
times. 3 times.
Now she is pissed because she cannot understand how come he could do such a thing to her with the bond that the two of them had. I mean, out of order.
It's absolutely out of order.
Honestly, Steph is giving the manager who caught you deleting all the important emails and pretending that you never got them. That's the vibe, huh? Now, here's the thing. It's not so black and white. You see, Andre explains that, sure, he's not trying to justify himself, but at the end of the day, it was like a reaction to action. I mean, Steph wasn't giving him the attention he needed. Another girl was, and it happened. Now, Steph, the same as us, rolling our eyes, is calling out the idiocy of this. And she's like, so let me get this straight. Because you didn't get an attention from me the way you wanted to, you went and hooked up with another girl. Make it make sense. Now, Steph shares with him how bad she felt this whole time of not giving him a chance to explain and how he hurt her. And finding this out right now, this is bad. Andre tries to approach her and he's like, I know, that's why this process is so hard, because he had to come clean and she needs to deal with it. He asks her if he can hug her, if he can console her, but she's like, do not touch me.
I'm just here to speak my mind.
And I'm allowing you to speak your mind.
I'm just here to live my truth, and I just want to show that I've changed.
Now, Steph is continuing to cry. And at this point, maybe the hug is not doing it, but Andre asks for her hand. And they hold hands. He apologizes again, but Steph wants to make sure that he understands how big this is. I mean, he was her best friend. They were best friends.
You're my best friend.
I know.
And this is where I call bull. Okay, this is where I'm like, boo, la la la. You know, I mentioned it before, how all of these couples explain how they are soulmates and almost twin flames, and they just smash and they're so perfect together. But then in no time, they get betrayed. Like, the math ain't mathing. So when she says, you were my best friend, that's why this hurts so much. I'm like, the definition of best friend, please. Like, what does it mean, best friend, if, despite the hurt, she didn't even talk to him about what she found? Okay? Like, let's really be real about this. You're saying he was your best friend. You are now like almost using this as another hit to hurt him, or how big his betrayal is, which I'm not denying. Clearly, I'm totally against cheating. But at the same time, she's totally neglecting that if you two were such best friends, how come you never actually talked to him about it and you just walked away? Like, it does not make sense. It feels a little sus. It feels a little bit like, Steffi, what are we doing here right now? Now, Andre also tells her that he never stopped loving her and he wants her back. But Steph cannot really take it anymore, and she walks away. Now we cut back to the host and the expert, and they have some thoughts on this whole situation. Now, first thing is that the host, which I should check up on her name because this is basically rude. Okay, her name is Amanda. Amanda is like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna be honest, I do not know if I could move past this.
I just don't know if I would have it in me to forgive and put it behind me if that happened to me.
But the expert is like, you know what? I get you. It is a very hard thing. But on the positive side, we can see that Steph is receptive to what Andre is saying, right? And that is good. At least they hear each other out. Amanda rolls her eyes a little bit, and then she's like, then I have high hopes for them.
To what he's saying, that's a positive.
I've got high hopes for them then.
Yeah.
And this is where I lose all hopes for Amanda. What do you mean? You just said that you couldn't do it, but then it's like, okay, because she's receptive, now you have high hopes. Clearly, the edit is not editing, okay? They are cutting out pieces that will actually help us understand why did she then suddenly come to this conclusion that she's actually hoping that they will work it out. Like, how are we supposed to learn how to be better in a relationship if you don't actually share what you're talking about? That's why we come up with shit on our own. Ta-da! Now, both Steph and Andre go to their houses, right? And we see Steph sharing with the others how she found out that he actually did cheat on her. And she basically feels embarrassed. Like, she feels like a dum-dum. And honestly, like, I can understand it. I mean, clearly, because, you know, she first felt guilty about the fact that she didn't let him explain himself. She left him. Then I guess she was thinking, okay, maybe he was the one and I should fix this. And then she comes back and she finds out that, yeah, basically your hunch was right? Your intuition was right. Those messages were already telling you what was actually happening. So, you know, she feels a bit embarrassed. But at the same time, there is this sense of the importance of image. And look, I understand, like, we all have this need to have some kind of, like, to be seen in certain ways, right? That's how we grew up, unless we had very healthy parents and they knew the importance of being okay with who you are. But not many people have that luck. Maybe our generations would do better. But despite that, like, it did make me feel a little, like my ear popped a little, like extended a little bit. It's like, what now? You know, being embarrassed or shameful, or like how the actions of your ex have the impact or how you then feel like people will see you. I don't think that is very healthy approach to trying to get back together, I guess. I would rather see her being like, you know what? I got the truth now, and it makes me feel better that I should have trusted myself. I did exactly what I felt is the right thing. Maybe I, started to doubt myself a little bit, but at the end of the day, this just proves me that I can take care of myself and not care about how it will make her look. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Am I onto something or am I going in too deep? Like I'm too observant. Now I had a little break, so I'm going to give you an opportunity for a little break because this is what I see everyone doing. And I'm going to invite you that if you like this video, click the like button, comment down below, and let's grow the channel. No, that's not for you. You don't care about that. You already know, but if you want to support me just in little ways, like a simple like or sharing the video or subscribing to the channel does a lot. Now, if you want to go that extra step, which some of you already did it, and this, I am sipping my coffees. There is also a buy me a coffee link down below, and you can support me that way. And do I feel awkward saying this? Yes, I do. Now, the next couple that meets up is Kieran and Amber Lee. And as the expert notes, this is a particular situation because trust has been broken on both sides. As a reminder, this is the couple that, he didn't come home when they were in Portugal the whole night.
Nearly a year in, we went on holiday to Portugal. There was one night where we had a big blow up. He didn't come home until the afternoon the next day.
While she went to her ex.
She says she didn't do anything, but I'm not so sure.
So kind of, one for one type of thing. Now they get straight into it, okay? At least that's how they show us. It's immediately, let's talk about shit that went down. And she brings up that night in Portugal and she wants to know the truth. What did actually happen? And in the name of transparency and honesty and trying to fix things, Kieran admits that, yes, he actually went to a hotel room with two girls. There were the two girls, they met on a boat and he gave them their number and then they called him and they just spent time in hotel room, but nothing happened, okay? Zero. Nothing happened. They just all got very drunk and they fell asleep in the same bed.
All I did sleep in the bed with them, but nothing happened. We got drunk.
Now, all of this is shared with a little bit of okay, it's like, okay, so nothing happened. No, nothing happened. Well, okay, I mean, we only slept next to one another. Or and they found me in the club, or they came after me. And she's like, well, how did they came after you? Well, okay, I gave them the number. It's all a little bit like the man has problems actually sharing what happened. Now, Amber Lee clearly does not believe him. First of all, it's already cheating, the fact that he gave out the number, why he is in a relationship with someone else. Then he met up with these people, but at the end of it all, even if he says that nothing happened, how can you really believe that?
You honestly, are you gonna?
It looks bad. It looks bad. I'm not gonna lie, but it is.
I don't find this funny.
It is challenging. I'm gonna give her that. But Kieran is like, well, if we're talking about who cheated and didn't cheat, I mean, you going to your ex's place and texting me how you're gonna F him? What the F is that? Now, Amber Lee also is like, I didn't do anything. I was just at his place and we didn't do anything. Now, I'm gonna say something that is totally wrong. I am very well aware of it. And I might have biases. I most definitely have biases. But at this point, I believe Amber Lee and I don't believe Kieran. And that says a lot because why? Why do I believe her and not believe him? Clearly, I have some biases because logically, she did also something that it's very hard to believe that didn't happen. Like imagine your ex or your partner telling you that they're going to go to their ex's place and they send you a text message how they're at their place. How can I believe that nothing happened? The same way I can't believe that nothing happened, Kieran taking two girls in a hotel room. It's logically, both are in the wrong. But somehow, man, I'm a little fucked up. And I truly do believe her more than him. How do you feel about this? She brings up again how she saw the 3 girls coming to his house. And at this point, Kieran kind of comes clean and says that he kissed one of her. But for her, that again, like, she finds it very hard to believe. Now, it seems like they're very going back and forth who did what and who did cheat and who didn't cheat, right? And Kieran at the end says, like, let's cut the ball, like, let's cut the crap. I'm here to be honest. I'm here to be honest, to be open, and for us to work on this together. Now, she still tells him that she does not believe him. She doesn't believe that he's actually being honest. And he just fires back, well, I don't believe that you are being honest. And then Amberly is like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to own up to my shit.
I'm going to own up to my things. And when we split up, I have slept with someone else.
Now, this is also a little bit sus, because I'm like, is this the editing or are people just a little bit shady? Because she says that she slept with someone when they were already done, but then she also said that it was by the end of their relationship when were already done.
When was this then?
That was way, way, way towards the end when we've been done.
So I guess this phase of maybe, things being bad and being a little bit distant from one another isn't okay to then sleep with someone else. Like, I don't get it. Is it after you ended the relationship? Or is it after, things didn't go well, you didn't really end it and you still went with someone else? I mean, that's clearly cheating. So I'm a bit confused, when exactly did this happen? Now, somehow it cuts to him again saying how they always go in the same circles, like talking about the same shit, and they always end up in the same place where he doesn't trust her, she doesn't trust him, or they don't believe each other that they are being honest. And to that, she says that, well, I mean, from my side, like, you've been lying about the Portugal thing for 2.5 years. Because he didn't actually tell her that he was with 2 girls until now, right? Before, it was like, I just bumped into random people and then I was alone at the hotel. I didn't come till next day 4 p.m. because I was just by the pool. So she's like, it's not we are the same, right? Kind of thing. He again claims that he didn't do anything with the girls. She stands up, she says that he's a compulsive liar, and she basically walks away.
You're a compulsive liar, and you always have been.
Now, according to experts, what they observe is that this went very quick, when they met and things just escalated and they just separated. So clearly there is a lot of hurt here, a lot of back and forth, and that's something that they will need to work on, because clearly they're both hurt and neither is really ready to be vulnerable and open and trusting in the other person. The next couple that need to face each other is Tegan and Sean. Now, this is the couple that, she didn't want to be with him at the beginning. Then things went very quickly, very fast. And he basically slept with another girl, and this girl contacted her on social media and basically told her about it. So Tegan goes right into it and she asks him about that night, like what actually happened. And Sean explains that, it was the usual. He went out with the guys and there was this girl at the bar and they talked a little bit. And then, after the bar, they went to a club.
So she left with you?
No, I was in the bar.
Yeah.
I left the bar and went over to the club.
Like, he didn't give her his number or anything. But this girl also showed up at the same club. And he says that it's pure coincidence that she was there. Now, the night went on, and by the end of the night, they kiss.
We ended up kissing, right?
Right, so what made you kiss her when you've got a girlfriend?
She kissed me.
He decided to take a cab and go home, and she asked him if she can join him. So, they went home. Then when they got home, he starts walking up the stairs, and she followed him.
I ended up going upstairs. She went upstairs.
And yes, if you clocked how apparently he was just existing in this world and this person was just constantly following him and doing everything and he was just there, then congrats, you're also spotting bullshit. Like, clearly he's not owning up to anything. At least, apart from telling the story, he's not owning up to any of this being his actual decision. It was all just things that happened to him. Just, what was that? the peculiar something events, things. There was a show. Now Tegan is counting. Okay, Tegan is counting and she says, man, there were 5 times, 5 opportunities when you could have said no, or where you could decide not to continue with this girl. And every time you decided to continue.
You kiss a girl, you leave with a girl, you then get a taxi with a girl to your house.
Yeah.
You then have a girl in your living room, and then you take her upstairs to bed.
Yeah.
That's a conscious decision 5
Which
times.
is the whole process of when somebody does something wrong, isn't it?
I mean, it's quite simple. I mean, Sean was just stupid. That's it. He was stupid. Now, Tegan asked him, why did he lie about having a girlfriend? And he's like, well, when she saw that picture, I had to think fast because I didn't want you to find out. And I just say that you were my ex. And Tegan is like, well, that's how I found out because this lady called me. And not only did she tell me that you were cheating with her, she also played me the voicemail of you begging her to not tell me that she slept with you.
Because she contacted me and played me the voicemail where you had a conversation, she'd recorded it, where you were begging her not to tell me.
And Sean is like, Now, he is also a little bit like, why are we doing this again? Because he already apologized for this. Like, he is sorry. And she clocks him saying that you're not sorry for doing it. You're sorry for getting caught. And the most hurtful thing of it all is that even when that happened, this is what Tegan is saying, she still decided to continue with him because she loved him so much that she even forgave him for that. Sean asks her, why did she leave the second time? And Tegan shares that it's because people around her started to tell her that she has changed.
People said that I'd started changing and that I weren't making the effort with them.
Her whole life was consumed by him. Everything was him, and she just didn't know how to basically live or exist without him. So she had to walk away. But the reason why she was changing was because she didn't trust him.
I was changing because I didn't trust you. My life was you. I just lived for you.
And honestly, I kind of appreciated that they left that in, like saying that the reason her life became so enmeshed with his, or that everything was about him, is because she didn't have that trust. Because it's not like, I mean, of course, you have examples when a person is maybe unhealthy, obsessive with someone or very codependent, but you have a lot of examples when that codependency develops because of lack of trust, right? And that person never actually helping you strengthen that trust that you have in them or in the relationship, but rather they are even more pulling it back, making you even more attached. I mean, if we talk in the language of attachment style, it's a typical, the anxious and the avoidant. The more the anxious seeks reassurance, the more avoidant pulls back, and that makes the anxious even more wanting to reassure, So this is basically what she's saying she has experienced, and she needed to break it off. But despite it all, she is also here in this retreat and she wants them to work on it. I don't know what, maybe his dog, like her dog really liked him. I have no idea. This whole time, Tegan is very emotional, right? She's crying and she's being very vulnerable and very open. And Sean is looking at her and he says, I can see how hurt you are.
You were like everything to me, Sean.
I can see how upset you are.
Is that it?
No. I can feel how you feel.
Like this man is detached. Like there's nothing there. He is just trying to seem vulnerable. He's trying to connect with her, where in reality, what it looks like is like he's thinking about what are they going to eat after they finish filming this. Like that's the vibe. There are moments when he's trying to, like he's constantly like wiping his eyes or his face, like touching his face, but there are no tears. There's no actual emotion. Now, this is just from my perspective, okay? Like we can understand that maybe some people have difficulties showing emotion. But with him, it all just felt a little bit like, okay, now. Have you watched too many podcasts of how you should affirm the other person, but forget to understand that you should understand them and affirm them? Yeah, probably. Tegan does, though, a strange thing, in my personal opinion, because she asks him, what does he want? What does he want to do now, like moving forward? Like, who knows? Maybe also applying to this show, it could be that he contacted her and now she's asking him, like, what do you actually want, right? And this man, he's like, I want to fix everything. Tegan, I'm not fucking around.
What do you want to do? What do you want to hear from me?
I want to fix everything, Tegan. I'm not fucking about.
Would say a person who's fucking around. Like the attitude or the energy he has, like, I'm not fucking around. It's like someone saying, you know what? I'm going to build this business and I'm not fucking around. It's again very like performative in some way, very detached from this actually being two people trying to connect and this being a relationship. Like, to me, he sounded ridiculous. It's actually been 3 years since the relationship ended, right? So this was like the first time they talked about it after 3 years. And Tegan says that she needs more space. And then later on, Sean is like in the confessionals where he's kind of saying that he didn't know that he hurt her so much and that he does want to be with her and he wants to fix it. And again, it's this like, I'm wiping my eyes and face, but there's nothing really there. The expert has a little, like, I don't really know what was the comment, but basically he's like, even after 3 years, apology is needed. And that's what this retreat is all about, just to be open and honest about everything. So that's that. The next couple that needs to face their breakup, okay? They need to face what went down is the 10-year-long relationship between Olivia and Liam. Now, Olivia is walking into this like, "Miss, I'm expecting him to come clean because I know things he doesn't know I know. So I need full honesty."
Recently, I found out Liam's cheated on me again. If he can't be honest and he can't give me what I want, then I'll have to say goodbye.
Now they start the conversation and she starts by mentioning that first incident at the beginning of the relationship where he cheated on her, right? He kissed another girl and Liam is over it. Like, Liam is like, this again, really? This thing has been going on for 10 freaking years and still today, till this day, you are mentioning it.
You can't continue to punish me for something I did all that time ago.
Look, we talk about this. There are two ways. Yes, I agree. If you decided to, let's say, forgive and continue, I mean, as much as it sucks, you need to also accept that you decided to continue, so you need to let it go, right? That's one side, 100%. The other thing is, if we would be like all really evolved and mature and so on, I mean, we would understand that sometimes you need to help the other person rebuild that trust and not let them do it on their own. And this is the vibe that I'm getting between Liam and Olivia. Because Olivia also, I'm going ahead of myself, but basically, Liam shares that this is something that's been a problem in their relationship for the whole time.
Obviously, you know that we've always had issues, especially with your jealousy.
Now, Bess, when I hear someone saying that to another person who is struggling with trust, especially after a betrayal, I'm like, okay, now convince me that he is a good man. Okay, I'm being judgy, but welcome to my channel. Now, when he says that, Olivia is a little bit like, okay.
What else is there to it?
So this is what we're going to do now, right? We're just going to blame me on my jealousy. Because if I now tie it back to the whole thing, how she keeps on bringing it up, even 10 years later, I mean, we find out that Liam hasn't ever really shown Olivia that he is actually committed to her.
You would take out your female friends and do things with them, and you wouldn't do
half the stuff that you did with your female friends with me.
And she gives examples. And Bis, when you hear these examples, you're going to paint another opinion of Liam, or that opinion is going to build.
Your female friends would be there at family events and I wouldn't even be invited.
So he would invite his female friends to these family gatherings, but he would not do the same for Olivia. Now, how can a person, and a young person at 18 years old, right, who doesn't really understand yet that she has a say on having boundaries and walking away, but maybe she thinks that, oh my God, it's just me the problem and blah, 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 build trust after a man betrayed her, and then he continuously prioritized other people, in this case, other women, over her. He can say it passed 10 years. It can pass 20 years. It does not matter, because if at no point in that period you actually focused on how to rebuild the trust she lost and understand her, how she would feel more safe, then doesn't matter the time that passes. So for me personally, this situation is kind of, two people who got together. She was very young. He did some shady things and she kept going, waiting for one day things to be better, but at the same time not feeling secure, and him attacking her that that's her problem, right? But he himself never really putting in the effort for her to feel better or for the better of the relationship. She shares with him that she doesn't believe that he actually understands how much he hurt her. But for Liam, it's, same old. He feels like that no matter what he does, they always come back to the same place. And honestly, he's done with it. So, or she's ready to move forward, or he's gonna leave right there and then.
Ask yourself, are you willing to move forward? If not, I'll leave now. I'm so done.
Now, to me, this again didn't look like him actually being emotional and crying, but just having cold and using that as a way to look emotional. And the fact that he's telling her, you have to stop bringing this up or I leave, is exactly that. Like, I personally experienced that. And I know how toxic it is, especially if you are not equipped with the knowledge and trust in yourself that you can leave. You can walk away. But because he's threatening her with that and he doesn't even want to talk about the situation, he is, in my view, almost manipulating to put a blame on her. So if I leave, it's not because I'm not able to actually talk to her and for us to figure this out or try to understand how would you feel better about the situation. It's because you did something wrong, I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm just not going to deal with it. Like, it's so fucked up and it's so sophisticated in a way, the manipulation, but at the same time, it only works if you are not emotionally mature enough, or better, if you don't really have the knowledge of how important it is to work on things together and not to always just be left with dealing with your shit on your own, especially when the other person is at fault that you lost trust. But in this moment, Olivia wants to share with him something else. I mean, there's another thing she wants to talk to him about.
So was that the only time he cheated on me?
Of course it was.
She pulls up the phone and she shows him a picture of a girl, and later we find out also messages.
Do you know this girl?
Liam is looking at the phone and he's like, no.
No.
You don't know her?
No.
So one night, Olivia's best friend went out with her friend, like another friend, right? And this friend hooked up with Olivia's man.
She said that she slept with Liam when me and him were together.
And that's why Olivia broke it off. So she shares this with Liam. And Liam is deflecting. This is bullshit. This is not true. And people just come up with shit. If I remember correctly, he tells to her something like, you have to stop believing people around you.
There's always going to be somebody talking shit.
And again, if I can see a red flag is that, I mean, look, here's the thing. I can understand that there are mean people in the world, right? There are evil people who just want to fuck you up and so on. But I would also believe that it is pretty rare that there would be a woman who would come up with all this shit to break you with someone. And that woman, let's say, if that would be the case, I mean, it had to be that it's someone who has some history with you or whatever. But if it's a random girl and she tells you, okay, your man cheated on you with me, then I don't know why. I find it very difficult to believe that she just came up with that because she wants to separate us. Like, oh yeah, because your man is so good that people are just trying to break you up. Like, to me, it's just a little bit unrealistic, a bit movie-like. But again, this might be just my lack of experience or knowledge, so let me know in the comments below. But I just don't like that argument. Like, I would much more prefer if he would focus on how for the two of them to rebuild trust and maybe even call this girl, like, you know, do something that will help Olivia see or understand that this is a lie, if it is a lie, right? Rather than just saying, no, this is bullshit and you need to stop trusting people, period. Like, he doesn't do anything again. He just puts her in a position where she will feel stuck. Olivia tries to, you know, almost like she's also using a little bit of a manipulation tactic, I would say. Persuasion. Manipulation could be a strong word. But she's basically, you know, telling him, like, you really need to be honest and open. Like, just tell me, if it happened, it happened. If we want to move forward, like, I need to know this, right? But Liam is like, that's bullshit. And she needs to understand that he only wants her and he only cares about her.
You need to understand I only love you and I only care for you.
But why don't I believe that?
I mean, he never really committed to her. In 10 years that they've been together, they didn't even move in together. And to this, Liam is like, well, why do you think that is?
Yeah, why do you think that is? We still got these underlying issues that always play a big part in our relationship. You're still out here trying to drop names on me.
So it's all my fault.
And again, I'm being very bitchy towards Liam, I guess. Maybe he will prove me wrong later on. But to me, this again just sounds someone who is gaslighting her and manipulating her. Like, okay, so now the fact that you didn't move in together after 10 years, it's also her fault, right? Everything seems to be her fault in some way. Yes, I did do that, right? But it's your fault that you keep bringing it up. Okay, I am accused of cheating, but it's your fault that you believe it. Okay, I never committed to you, but it's your fault why I didn't.
Listen, if we sort this shit out here, I was considering putting a ring on that finger and taking it to the next level.
People, did you hear that? Liam is even thinking about potentially proposing to her if they fix the things at this retreat, if they come back together after they've been together for 10 years. He's not like, if we do this, we're gonna get married. He's like, if we do this right, I was even considering of potentially marrying. He tells her that she is the best girl he has ever met. But if she continues, other people put things into her head and create narratives and impact their relationship, he's out. He is done.
If you're going to continue to let outside people always affect you, trust me, just tell me, man, I'm done.
So that's the...
That's the ultimatum. You either want to move forward with me, Olivia, or you don't.
Isn't he a charm? People, of course, that's how you do it. If your person has problems with trusting you, if they feel that you never really committed, and that's what makes this relationship so challenging, at least from their side, just give them an ultimatum. And it's like, you shut up or I'm leaving. That's it. Now, also the experts, when they're observing this, they're like, oh, Liam is making the most wrong things he could do, right? According to Paul, he is making the most dangerous part of conversation or dealing with things in a relationship.
Denial, minimize her feelings, deflect.
But when it comes to Olivia, the expert says that she needs to understand that this is not all about Liam. It's not about the things that he needs to work on. It's also about how she herself needs to empower herself in this relationship. And honestly, I love that. Paul, the expert, that was amazing because in my personal opinion, he is just very, very subtly or in a diplomatic way saying, Bis, you need to realize that you have enough worth in yourself to not deal with this shit. Okay, that's how I saw it. Of course, he's putting it in a nice way, like she needs to empower herself and so on. But between the two of us, he's telling her, why are you even dealing with this shit? Now, the two of them go back to the houses, right? The respective houses. And I was shocked. Okay. Now, first of all, I wasn't surprised that Olivia shared with her friends how she feels like she might have fucked up. The fact that she brought up this rumor that came out that he cheated on her again. She's afraid that he maybe messed this whole thing up and he's just gonna leave.
I don't know why, but I feel like, have I ruined things?
No,
like,
don't do that. No, don't do that.
And creates this sense of, if this is not gonna work out, is your fault. But the shocking thing was Liam. You see, Liam goes into the other house and he is now sharing with the other participants of how things went down and how she just brought up another name at this discussion. And the whole vibe is Liam is a victim.
You weren't prepared for that.
You don't deserve that at all.
No.
I'm sorry, but you're going back and forwards about the same things for 10 years. Like, I think it's something she needs to work on, not you. You're not the problem in this.
No, you're not.
The way especially ladies of this group are comforting him and telling him that, you know, he's not the problem. And if Olivia still has a problem after 10 years, that maybe she needs to work on some things. I was like, Bis, you delulu, okay? And also, it showed how easy it is when you don't have the full picture. And FYI, also, we don't have a full picture. We just know what we see on TV, right? On the edit. How we can easily construct our own opinions and even give advice. Imagine someone like Liam who is deflecting, who is putting all the blame on Olivia, it doesn't really look like, at least at this point, that he actually is trying to work on her to rebuild the trust, is getting even more affirmation that he's not in the wrong, that she's the one who's a little bit cuckoo.
If I'm perfectly honest with you, I don't think I warranted that, man. I didn't.
Now, the next couple is Jazz and Craig. You know, the one where he was living a double life? She was the girl. She thought she was the girlfriend, but in reality, she was the side chick. It's time for the two of them to face each other.
To know that someone can live like this whole double life, it's scary.
Now, going into this, the experts do say that this is a very complex situation and this one will be really difficult to overcome. Craig hopes that he will show Jazz that he actually changed because he does believe that she is the right person. Now, he starts by apologizing for his mistakes.
First and foremost, I need to apologize. You know, I know I messed up. I know the mistakes that I made and the things that I've done wrong.
Jazz wants to know, why would he even ask her for her number if he was already in a relationship? Like, why would you do that? How can I trust you that you are someone who is committed when you literally go after another girl while you are with someone else in a relationship? But Craig explains that initially he just saw a beautiful, amazing woman and things just kind of went from there. Like, they just clicked so much and he was really unhappy. So he just continued and he never really knew how to come clean.
He was the right person at the wrong time.
They're both very emotional. And when Craig says that he tried to tell her, Jazz is like, when? When did you try to tell me? Let me remind you, they've been together for 9 months. For 9 months, he was leading her on, like, and living this double life. And at this point, Craig is like, well, Jazz, I have been honest with you. And she's like, oh, no, you are not doing this right now. What you told me is that you still live with your baby mama, but that you are not together with her. Like, that you ended.
Initially, I told you that I was.
Yeah, initially you said, no, you didn't
the
say.
whole truth.
You said that you was living with her
There you go.
and you're not together.
And this to me is so interesting. I think, oh my God, the level of trust you need to have to believe that someone is only living with their ex, I don't know. I mean, it's not impossible, of course, But I would be really like, wow, you would need to really, really show me how is that. I would have to meet this person. This person would have to also say from her side, there's nothing between us and so on. I would not just believe the guy. Oh yeah, we're just living together because that's the arrangement right now. Okay, that's totally fine. Why can't I meet her? You know? But that's just me. She even says that if she knew that the two of them are together, she would never in her right mind continue this. Like she would never want to be the other girl. And she stayed with him because she actually thought she was his girlfriend.
I thought I was a girlfriend and I turned out to be a side chick.
But you was never a side chick.
And this is why he is here. He wants to prove that.
Do you even love me still?
He asks her if she still loves him. And Jazz says that yes, she does. I mean, loving him was the easy part. But forgetting him and stop loving him after everything went down, that was the hard part. And she's still struggling with it. I mean, clearly, that's why they're on the show. Craig explains that in his honest truth, he does not know what to do about her, but he genuinely feels that she was the right person at the wrong time. And being here again, giving this relationship a second chance, he truly believes that this is the right person at the right time. Jazz is still very doubtful. She does not know if she can trust him. Now, in the confessional, she says that when she's looking in his eyes, he seems very genuine about what he is saying. You know, the whole thing that maybe he did just meet a person who he really liked, but he was in a situation, didn't know how to get out of it, and now they have another chance, right? It's almost like a movie, right? But you know what? Sometimes movies are based on true stories. But at the same time, she's like, the problem is that I've thought before that he was genuine.
But I've looked into those eyes many times before and it wasn't the case. He wasn't being truthful, so...
Before they separate, they actually hug. I think they were the only couple that hug after this confrontation. And when they jump to the experts, or like it cuts to the expert and the host, they are talking about how you can see Jazz struggling with believing him or not believing him. But there's an interesting thing that the host says.
Because she wants to believe it so badly, which is different for it being the truth.
Absolutely well said.
And that's something that, we know. We know how we find a way to convince ourselves that, you know, even when we have gut feelings, that maybe those gut feelings are not right, because we actually want to believe that person, or we actually want to be together with them, even though maybe we shouldn't. But let's see if this is going to be a story of the right person at the wrong time, or if that is just another fairy tale that we use to justify our own actions and maybe be stuck in things that we shouldn't. Well, votes below. The next couple is Dan and Rebecca, and as a reminder, these two met in Greece on a vacation, and for her it was, you know, sparks immediately. She would refer to them as twin flames, but things went a little bit south when he, went to Ibiza, and she found some text messages between him and the girls he met there.
Right now, there's more anger than anything. I just want him to acknowledge what he's done and just apologize.
So when they meet, they start talking about this, what actually happened in Ibiza. And he starts by saying that they are here to have an open discussion. So this is what he's going to do. He's going to tell her everything that happened. The story goes that he met this girl and they hanged out, they were holding hands, they went to the club together, but he does not classify it as cheating because he never kissed her.
We're holding each other's hands, but I don't class it as cheating. I didn't kiss anyone.
Now, I'm assuming that means that he also never slept with her. But that's how he phrased. Rebecca is very emotional hearing all of this. She's crying, like bawling her eyes out. And to her, he did cheat and he is lying about it. Because when she saw those messages, he was even planning to meet this girl back in the UK.
It was cheating. You were disloyal. You lied to us about the whole thing. Where are you? Let's meet by the pool. Did you have a good night? Last night was great. Or we'll meet up when we get back in the UK. I read all of them.
Dan is like, no, this is not cheating. And at the end of the day, it's not like it came out of nowhere, because you were the one who didn't make me feel good enough in this relationship. Again, the classic. The woman is not making the man feel good enough, or she doesn't give him enough attention, so he needs to go and find it somewhere else. Because I guess that's the solution. That's what you do. Talking, no. Saying that this doesn't make you feel good and you're actually considering of ending it, no. What you do is just, you know what? If she's not giving it to me, I'll find it somewhere else. This and the amount of time men are the ones who think like that, it's insane. Also, maybe I'm a little bit biased and clouded with the perceptions, because maybe there are many women who do like that, but it doesn't really look like, or what we see is not really that. Then again, maybe for women it's more hidden. I don't know. Rebecca is actually confused about what he is saying. She's like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
The thing you said to me when we broke up was, I need someone that can take me to nice restaurants, buy me nice things.
And Rebecca is like, Biz, I think in the whole relationship we were together, we went out once and it was for my birthday. Dan is like, did you think I have funds for that? Now, the thing is that when he says this, I think like it is again setting up this thing of how, Rebecca was materialistic maybe. She wanted money from him and that didn't make him feel good and blah, 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 right? But it almost feels, at least for me, a little bit of a setup. Just a little bit. And it seems that Rebecca feels the same because she's like, well, that's not really true because you did have money to go to a vacation to Ibiza. You just never had money to spend it on us.
I was never a priority.
To be honest, I got cold feet.
Then at this point, I think he changes a little bit the tune because now he's like, to be honest, I got cold feet. Everything was moving so fast and I just think I got scared. And Rebecca is confused because, well, you could have just told me that. Now, this whole confrontation is happening very close to some of the other exes that are like sitting there and chilling. And despite not wanting to, their ears kind of hear everything. And we get a bit of an extra opinion, like we see just the edit, but based on the conversations they have, we can also see that they do not like how Dan is approaching this situation.
I've had no sense of an apology.
No remorse.
According to these people, Dan is not taking accountability for nothing. Dan at this point asks Rebecca that what is the point of all of this, right? Why are they here? Does she want to get back together or not? And Rebecca says that she wants him to acknowledge how much he hurt her and to apologize to her. But Dan is like, he has a little bit Liam vibe. He's so annoyed with this. The feeling is I can't be bothered while Rebecca is there bawling her eyes out. Like the energies are not matching at all.
Just want you to just acknowledge that you've done wrong. It broke my heart.
But you know how it is. The experts also are observing this situation and they share their own opinions. And what they see is Dan making it all about himself, how he feels less than, rather than being the one who needs to apologize. When in reality, he is the one who should apologize. Like he did cross a boundary of the relationship, or in this case, cheat. Does he classify it or not? I don't know. Rebecca sees it as cheating, and that for me is cheating enough. However you feel, that's the reality. They also say that according to them, Dan is building a wall, protecting himself rather than building trust. At this point, Rebecca has had enough and she kind of ends the conversation and walks away. Now, in the confessional, she does say that she is so emotional because they never actually had a proper conversation about this. And the fact that he admitted there was more than just the text does give her, like, it makes her feel like they made a step forward and she hopes they can reconcile. Now, Dan, on the other hand, when he goes back to his house and so on, he basically shares that he is kind of almost shocked. He never thought that he'd be the one who would make her feel this way, and it makes him feel awful.
It makes you feel awful. I never ever thought I'd be that type of guy that would make you feel that way.
The last couple that needs to face each other is Lucia and Connor. Now, these are, their they were each other's first love. And then he brought someone else in their house and he slept with them. He managed to hide it for a week, and then she found a watch under the bed, and that's how everything went down.
It is the why that I need to hear from Connor, because there was nothing wrong in our relationship.
So Lucia starts by asking him, why did he do what he did?
I feel like I was just really young at the time. I know that it's like cliche. I don't want to just be like that guy to say, oh, I was young.
Now, she's a little bit sus, because how can you say that you were not mature enough to not cheat, and yet you were mature enough to talk about family and engagement and so on? Like, the math ain't mathing. How come you can be mature for one thing but not mature for another?
How can you go from speaking about kids to sleeping with someone?
Now, at this point, he shares that the thing that kind of was cherry on top was buying the house, that was just pressure too much, and he regrets everything that he's done. And if he could, he would go back and fix it. She asks him if he genuinely believes that this relationship can be fixed. And he tells her 100%, especially after seeing her again. But he does have a little question.
So you haven't been speaking to no one else in there, no?
Yes, Bis. This man is here to try to fix his relationship with the ex, and the first thing he asks her is if she's hooking up with someone else. Let that sink in. And the same way we were shocked by the question, so was Lucia. She was like, what are you even asking me right now?
No.
Okay, good.
And he has this smile on his face. He asks her for a hug, and this whole time it's this, haha, flirty, smilish type of thing. Honestly, in my personal opinion, very immature, very disrespectful, and not serious at all.
Do I get a hug? Yeah? I did this, I thought I was going to have a little spoon.
Shut up.
All right, see you later.
And this is also what the experts kind of call out, or what the expert calls out, that Dan is not mature and this could be a problem. Now, later, Lucia is kind of in confessional and then talking also to another person about how she is upset and annoyed about what happened, right? And she has a very difficult time processing what he just said. Like, they're not here to hook up with other people. They're here to fix their relationship. And she does not believe that he is genuine at all. So this is how all the couples met, have that first conversation, the experts were observing, and now they are separated in their houses. This is going to be the evening or the last day before the next day they need to meet up again in the reckoning room, where they will decide if they want to continue with the process. Now, as I mentioned, there seems to be some mingling happening with some of the people in the respective houses. Nothing like crossing the boundaries or anything, but it's like these, I guess maybe producer-infused questions. Oh, who would you be if you wouldn't be with your ex? And blah, 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 right? Now, what decision will be taken? And what will be maybe some initial confrontations in this reckoning room based on what the experts observed? Because some of the things the experts are going to call out and make them talk right there in front of everyone, we will see in the next video. Until then, trust your individuality.